It is one which makes everybody one shall reign as prevalent. If at all there exists a configurational understanding of the universe, that is Purusha, the configurational reality of the world, and that is Para. Hence, I take this oath to put Amrita into Amrita itself. A human is Amrita, and a human, what he consumes, is also Amrita. It is this entity which survives, which is universal. And that entity which survives universal is knowledge. So we are here at the closing session of 2 days national workshop on Indian knowledge system, focus areas of research organized by Director Academics of Central University of Karnataka. So we had a very long 2-day session available to the whole set of faculty members, researchers of the university to churn on to Indian knowledge system and develop focus areas of research and find methods to implement Indian knowledge system in the curriculum. So I welcome the whole gathering for this wonderful eve where we will be concluding this new beginning. We have with us the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Gulbarga University, Kalaburgi, our neighbors who have been partners in contributing to this activity, that they have put in their faculty members actively participated for this workshop. We thank them personally for this august gesture, and I welcome as their representative Professor Dayanand Aksar to this gathering, sir. Welcome to you. I request Dr. Ankita to please put in a bouquet. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor to please welcome him to the gathering. Thank you, sir. I welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor, who has been a steerer of this activity. I personally thank him for making this whole activity more enjoyable and cherishful, and I request Dr. Chaitanya to welcome him with a bouquet. To the Honorable Vice Chancellor. Thank you, sir. With this, we are on the closure of this 2-day activity. I welcome the organizing secretary, Dr. Chaitanya, to please put a report on the deliberations in the activities.
A very good evening to one and all. In line with the UGC guidelines for Indian knowledge systems and its incorporation in higher education curriculum, the idea of this workshop originated in the office of Director of Academics. Immediately the proposal was drafted, and the very next day Honorable Vice Chancellor readily approved it. And from there onwards, we have formed various committees, and we have been working for this 2-day national workshop. And we have in front of us all the resource persons. So this is a first of its kind of initiative in any kind of central university. So the entire credit goes to Honorable Vice Chancellor for this. And it also shows the intent and the keenness with which he wants to implement this in our university. This national workshop was registered by over 310 participants, but due to paucity of funds and some space limitations, we couldn't allow everyone. But there were participants from apart from our university. There are participants from Gulbarga University. We have participants from Sharan Baswa University. We have also some faculty members from coming all the way from Gujarat, Mangalore, Sholapur, and Dharwad as well. So in the last 2 days, we had the flavors. Just chakana bolte hain isko. We just tasted the flavor of IKS. खाना अभी हमने खाया नहीं है. तो I'm sure we will definitely go subject wise here after. We are just trying to have the overview of what kind of disciplines we can have. So in that sense, we have invited, we tried to see that we will have all the audience from various disciplines. So we have invited in the inaugural. So we had our honorable vice chancellor, and in his speech, he mentioned that IKS can provide solutions to few of the problems which our world is facing now. So that was the crux of his talk. And director academics has emphasized the need and importance of incorporation of components of IKS in various disciplines in higher education. And then followed by Professor R.R. Biradar sir, who is the registrar of this university, has also highlighted the importance of understanding the knowledge of Vedas. We had our keynote speaker, Dr. Ramanathan, who enlightened us with the Bharat's contribution to chemistry and metallurgy. And then followed by which we had Professor Upender Rao, who took us through the journey of Ramayana through Cambodia, Vietnam, and Indonesia. And then we had our own local Jival, Venugopal Herurji, who has highlighted the Aryabhata's contribution to mathematics. And then in today's morning session, we had glimpses of Indian public administration and Ayurveda system by Dr. Vinayak Rajat Bhatt. And finally, we had a topic of arts and culture where Dr. Ramakrishna has emphasized or suggested 2 courses to be offered, that is like artistic expression and cultural literacy. So in short and brief, this is the proceedings of this workshop. And as it is being said, it's just like, it is just the beginning. We are going to have more number of conferences in this direction, and we are, as Honorable Vice Chancellor sir is very, very keen on this, and we will try to do our best to incorporate it in the curriculum. The take-home message, I think, is drawn from one of the words, like we are moving from wow to aha. That's, I think, in very short, I should put it this way. And the logo of Indian Knowledge Systems, you can see a swan there. Swan is a property. It's a filter feeder. It has a property to differentiate between milk and water. So, we have to take the milk and leave the water. You have good things, you have bad things. So I think we are faculty and we are matured enough and intellectual enough to do that. And अगर यहाँ पे इस university में नहीं होगा तो और कहाँ होगा? So with that, I thank each one of you. And this is the proceedings actually. Vote of thanks will be proposed later. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request the guest of today's function, Dr. Niranjana, to put his, Dr. Dayanand Daksar, to put his remarks. Professor Dayanand Daksar, please. I'm sorry. So there is a small misconception that went in. I'm sorry for this. I seek your excuse. So now we have the Director Academics who will be putting his concluding remarks. So the conclusions for this whole activity which has happened for past 2 days. Professor Basavaraj Donur, please.
Thank you, Dr. Raju Joshi. Good evening to all of you. Professor Bhattu Satyanarayan sir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Karnataka and who is chairing this valedictory session. Professor Dayanand sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Gulbarga University, Kalburgi. Professor Niranjan Nishti in his absentia, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sharan Basappa Appa University, Kalburgi. And Dr. Basavaraj Kubakatti and Dr. Chaitanya, organizing secretaries. Dr. Sri Upendra Rao, Dr. Venugopal Herur in his absentia, esteemed resource persons, and respected deans, HODs, and all my dear colleagues. Well begun is half done goes an English verb, English proverb. So I would say well begun is not half done, well begun is fully done. So it began well and it was a great success. I can claim that it has been a wonderful academic exercise and it has been very fruitful, meaningful, and also successful. Shakespeare says, "All is well that ends well." This is the title of one of his comedies. All well that ends well. So this ended well, so it is well. And I thank the resource persons and this August gathering for taking active participation in all the deliberations that we have held over the last 2 days. It has been an extremely successful 2-day national conference workshop on Indian knowledge systems, focus areas of research. And a lot of heat has been generated during the discussion, and it should not set fire. It should, it should light the candle of knowledge. This is this is my expectation. It's good that not only we listened to lectures, we also participated. We raised our questions and we gave our opinions. And as the organizing on behalf of the organizing committee, on behalf of the Central University of Karnataka, Honorable Vice Chancellor, we welcome all your opinions and all your views with a lot of respect, because we respect democracy and we accept it. As I said, this is okay, but this should not, as I said, set fire, but it should light the candle of knowledge. And it is also my duty to find out what are the outcomes of this 2-day workshop are. I could see mainly 4 outcomes of this workshop. Number 1, Indian knowledge system is unique and it is time tested. And this is what all the resource persons have tried to make out. But the existing knowledge systems, which are which are Western. What I'm trying to say is, we did not reject the Western modes of knowledge. We did not reject the Western thoughts and ideas or Western all knowledge systems. And no resource person has said that what is Western should be rejected. It's not like that. The concern of this workshop is to find out the Indian knowledge system and highlight it and explore the possibilities of using it for the benefit of today's generation. This has been the concern of the workshop. And in the inaugural session, I said we should go for Indianization of Indian syllabi and pedagogy, and I still stick to it. I'm not opposed to Westernization. I'm basically a professor of English. I will teach only Shakespeare and others in my department. How can I oppose Westernization or Western literature and culture? So when I teach Shakespeare, I should be able to teach Kalidas, Vyasa, and all our Kannada poets and Bhasha literatures. This is one of the outcomes of this workshop. And Indian knowledge system exists in all subjects, languages, and culture. This is one of the major points of concern. Okay, you all asked questions about this. Then The most important outcome of this workshop is integration of Indian knowledge system into our curriculum. This is the need of the hour. So we have realized that there is a big treasure in the form of Indian knowledge system, and how to make it available to our children. And the only way to make Indian knowledge system available to the rest of the world or to Indians is through integrating into our syllabus. So these are the outcomes of this seminar, workshop. And uh, any lecture will have its limitation. No lecture is complete in itself. It doesn't matter who speaks. So we cannot expect one resource person to cover all the subjects, to cover all the areas. It's not possible. Similarly, a two-day national workshop of this kind also has its own limitation. So in this event, we try to discuss and debate about the knowledge system available mainly in Sanskrit. This is the first of its kind. Now, the Honorable Vice Chancellor is very clear about academics, and he has a lot of plans and initiatives to develop academics in the university. And at the school level, we can organize two-day workshop of this kind at the school level, and if required, also at the departmental level. And to find out the nature of Indian knowledge system and in what way it is complementary to Indian knowledge system or in what way it differs, the Department of English has submitted a proposal to the Honorable Vice Chancellor for permission and financial assistance to conduct a two-day national seminar on revisiting Indian classical literature. I take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to Sri Dr. Niranjana Vishti, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sharanabasappa Appa University. And I request the Honorable Vice Chancellor to felicitate Professor Niranjan Vishti with a bouquet. Okay, this is all what I wanted to say about the national workshop, and it has been very successful, and I thank all of you. And I have a small announcement to make. The university is conducting a feedback or review meeting at 3 p.m. on 25th 7 to 23 on the eve of Professor Bhattu Satyanarayan's completion of 2 years in office. And I request all the teaching and non-teaching of the university to attend this program at 3 p.m. On 25th. Once again, I extend my, I thank all of you for attending the two-day national workshop and taking active part and also giving your inputs and your suggestions and views, with which I'm sure that we'll come out with more pragmatic and more meaningful seminars, workshops of this kind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with the essential outcomes of this two-day national workshop. Thank you, Professor Donur. Now I request Professor Niranjana Nistri, the Vice Chancellor of Upper Sharanabasappa University, to please put his it is Professor Niranjana who joined us just now. I welcome him to the gathering once again. And with this, I request Professor Dayanand Aksir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Gulbarga University, to please put his remarks on the 2 days workshop on Indian knowledge system.
Good evening, everybody. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Karnataka, Professor Bhattu Satyanarayanji, my esteemed colleague Vice Chancellor of San Bosco University, Professor Niranjan Isti, my friend and the Director Academics of Central University of Karnataka, Professor Donur, the Registrar of Central University of Karnataka, congratulations. I'm sorry he's not there. Okay, Kubgadji, I'm sorry. And Organizing Secretary of this event, Dr. Chaitanya, very distinguished speakers, resource persons, esteemed colleagues, and dear students. I'm here not to give remarks on this today's workshop. Yes, I'm sure. Definitely, I share a couple of my views on the Indian knowledge system, basically as a scientist and also as academic administrator, that is the Vice Chancellor. Friends, as it has been already told, Indian knowledge system is unique and the time tested. It's not only the time tested, it remains tested forever, which is universally being accepted. There's the great value of the Indian knowledge system, which has been well proved across the globe. If you just recollect ourselves, the endemics, epidemic, the pandemic, whatever you say, of recently emerged out corona infection, I think across the globe, the people have accepted the medicinal value of the Indian Ayurvedic system. It is not just today's, right from the history of the Indian knowledge system has been well proved of the Indian Ayurvedic system. Let me share with you at this stage a recent collaboration that is being established between the Gulbarga University and the University of Bradford, UK. It's almost on the Indian Ayurvedic system. One of the plant component, I'm not going to reveal that exactly because it is going under the research, one of the plant component which is being detected in our university, one of the life science departments, is being explored at the University of Bradford in the Department of Tissue Engineering, being covered under the life sciences discipline, where they have nanotechnology, the most advanced application of the nanotechnology using a little device, modernization of the spinning nanotechnology, where a particular nanoparticle and a particular this bioactive molecule from the plant originated is being prepared as a blend in the treatment of the ulcers or the wounds in the diabetic cases or in the diabetic cases. We know that how difficult it is in the diabetic cases. Normally, because of the prevailing physiological conditions, ulcers and the wounds would not be so easily cured in the diabetic cases. We are coming out with a very interesting product with a blend of this a plant molecule and a nanoparticle. What I would like to emphasize at this stage is the basic Indian knowledge system which is being explored since the origin and the scope and the concept of the Indian plant products for the infections against various agents, and then the technology. To share at this stage about the technology in general and about the nanotechnology in particular, Indian knowledge system is well recorded without the notice or being put it as a nanotechnology, how the practices were made in the Indian history or Indian knowledge system, where the filtering of the waters, putting it in various containers or the contents. You can taste the water which is in the earthen pot. You can taste the water which is in the copper pot. You can taste the water which is in a glass container, it's a fact of science. It doesn't require any proof of concept, but you can really experience it. The simple technology, the simple science behind it is the kind with which a kind of particles keeps continuously interacting with the water molecules and makes it entirely different. Not just taste alone. The real science is the quality of the water, which is being used by various health disordered individuals in different stages. These are only two best examples that I would like to show. My dear friends, it is the Western countries which are being attracted towards the Indian knowledge system nowadays. In the recent revolution that we are seeing across the country regarding the higher education system, it is the Western countries who are getting attracted towards the Indian knowledge system, and then they started collaborating with us. We're going for another project. Just I'm trying to share with you, based on the Indian knowledge system, how strong it is in the globe or in the universe. It is the British Council, it is the Karnataka State Higher Education Council, which is coming up to grant us the GGP, Going Global Partnership, where academic, researcher, and industrialists are being added, which are coming out with a lot of solutions to the existing problems, not only to our country, elsewhere in the globe. That's how Indian knowledge system is serving, not only to solve the problems of our own country, but elsewhere across the globe. Of the late, we are realizing the Indian knowledge system. Yes, it is true, sir. It is too late for us to inculcate the Indian knowledge system and its components in the curriculum of our teaching and research. And really, we have to work very hard to look back ourselves into the possibilities that were established way back in the nation, and then how we can take it further. I hope this workshop would pay a great way to take the Indian knowledge system and further its applications, not only in the field of science and technology, but for the welfare of the mankind, welfare of the humankind. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Indian science and Indian knowledge system is always exemplified. It needs no proof at the juncture even today. But essentially, it is important to put the discoveries as well as contributions in the language of science or in the modern framework to make it propagative as well as spread widely. This has been the message. I thank Professor Dayananda sir for making this wonderful remark on the August occasion. Thank you, sir. Thanks for this. I request now Professor Niranjana, a medico by training, to please put his remarks on the 2 days workshop. Professor Niranjana, please.
Good evening, everybody. The Vice Chancellors on the dais, Shri Battu Satnaranji and Dayanand Aksarji, with whom I have the privilege of knowing since quite some time. Today, I would like to thank the organizers of this workshop for having invited me. But precisely, to be very frank, my talk is going to be very generic because I didn't know that what sort of audience I was going to face. Just now I came to know from Battu sir that they're all teachers from across India. In that case, my speech will be generic. First of all, I would like to tell you one thing. How many of us know that till India, we know that we are a developing country now, but how many of us are sure as to how prosperous our country was? To see this, there was by OECD countries, they conducted a survey. In fact, they hired an economist called as Angus Madison to study the economic history of the world. It was as recent as just a few decades back. And to everybody's astonishment, they came to know that from the first century till the 17th century, from first century till the 17th century, I repeat once again, it was only two countries which dominated the finance or the economic prowess of the world. It was mostly India, and then it was China. And to their surprise, the Westerners were surprised. They didn't, they were not very comfortable with the fact that they were not the richest country till 17th century. Now, what is that which made India and China so rich and prosperous? It had to be something. Today, if you look up to America, why it is so rich? It has to have the economic prowess, the economy has to be very strong, the education system has to be very strong, the health system has to be very strong, and even the political system has to be very strong. And there has to be a rule of law. This obviously means that in the past, we had all these things in place till 17th century. So something went wrong with the advent from 13th century onwards, when we were ruled by the outsiders. Then something went wrong. The first thing, especially it went wrong when the Britishers came. Our economy was still okay at the time, even at the time of after the advent of the Mughal rule. At the end of Mughal rule, India was still prosperous. But once the Britishers started to rule India, and we know what happened. We became, when they left, we were one of the poorest countries. The reason for that, and we will be surprised to know that, they took out some $45 trillion in those 200 years. $45 trillion. Now we are shouting at the roof, from the rooftop, that we want to be a $5 to $6 trillion economy by the end of 2030. That is in the next 6 to 7 years. But they took away $45 trillion. So they proudly said that the sun never sets on the British Empire. And as you must be aware of what Shashi Tharoor told in Cambridge. He told that the sun never sets in the British Empire because in the dark, even the God won't touch them. That's what he told them. So, if such being, what I feel is our knowledge system is very strong. Be it the political system, or be it what you call the economics, and even the science. And as far as science is concerned, I can only tell, you people have gathered here, probably discuss the same thing. From what I can tell you is, especially the contributions of our ancient medicine, headed by Charaka, Shushruta, and all. They made, it was as far as I understand, because Ayurveda is altogether a discipline in itself. I cannot, talk about that because I'm not qualified from that specialty. But what I can very well proudly say is, it is a very effective preventive system. We modern medicine, we treat once there is a disease. We are trained to treat the diseases, but we are not trained to promote healthy people. We are not trained. Our education is such that we have been taught in that way. But Ayurveda, essentially, it's a system of living wherein the diseases can be prevented. What time to eat, what time not to eat, what to eat, and in which season what to eat. The science is elaborate with that. Now, such being, what I would like to tell you is, now, because you are all teachers belonging to the various disciplines coming across India, what I would like to tell you is, one thing is going to hit us very powerfully. That is the artificial intelligence. Now, I'll just, from my field or even from all other fields, how disruptive it can be, I'll just tell you some examples. For example, in robotic surgery, a person sitting anywhere in the world can operate remotely with the help of robotics. But the issue here is, if something goes wrong, who is responsible? We still do not have answers for this. The next is, now you can implant a chip. It is going to be a reality. A chip will be implanted in one's body, and it senses the hormones. That is the happy hormones, the sad hormones. See, when we are happy, there is release of some hormones like dopamine. Likewise, if we are happy, some things related such as oxytocin and serotonin are released. If a chip is introduced, and if that is monitored, if that is monitored, people can assess, who have got data, they can assess you whether you are happy or not. Supposing if you are seeing the idiotic thing, small thing, that is your smartphone, if your eyes dilate, you are happy. So that data can be assessed by the smartphone makers. For example, the phone makers, iPhone makers will have our data, and even the Chinese makers, zombie fellows, will also have our data, and even our Mukesh Ambani will also, the Geos also will have our data. So whoever has data, they can assess your likes and dislikes. That's one thing. And the most important thing is, with the help of AI, what's going to happen is, there is a machine which was discovered by Microsoft. I think there is one such machine in Bangalore. If you give some 85 parameters which it asks, the diagnosis of the disease, along with the treatment, and along with the differential diagnosis, and what precautions you have to take, is out within 5 seconds. Now tell me, what should I do as a doctor? So my job in that case will be to convince the patient, pacify him. I have a role, definitely we will have a role, but it will be a different role. Likewise, once what happened was, if I think you all know Foxconn. Foxconn has its headquarters in Taiwan. So the workers there, the girls who were working in that factory, about 5,000, they went on a strike asking for a hike, salary hike. They were paid some $5 or $10, I'm not very sure, $5 or $10 per hour. So Foxconn decided it was too much. They're demanding far too much. So they wanted to put an end to that. And so the entire factory was robotized. And only 2 people were employed. That is, a dog to take care of the security and a person to take care of the dog, not anything else. He didn't have to do anything. There is no job for him. So, and the factory was working. Somebody visited that factory and they were surprised to see that the factory was working in darkness, because computers don't require the presence of electricity or light. It can work 24 hours. So no strikes, no lockdowns by the factory workers. This is going to be a reality. And another thing, for example, see the judicial system, we always complain that there are going to be a lot of delays and all. If you view the case with some parameters as asked by the computer, by the AI, the judgment is out within 10 seconds. Now, what our courts will do, what our lawyers will do, well, these are all real possibilities. So, such being, the role of the teachers is also going to change. So, we will be just, teaching cannot be emphasized in a very big way, because nowadays it is the learners who are more important. So, internet has democratized knowledge in such a way that people sitting in Delhi, people sitting in Bombay, Bangalore, or Gulbarga, or even some remote place, we all have access to the same knowledge. We cannot complain that we do not have access to the knowledge, or we do not have the privileges of the accessibility to the knowledge. And let me tell you one thing. This is what I observed. I go to a school here. They conduct annually a very famous school which belongs to our institution. That is Shanbasweshwar Public School. I attended a mini convocation, they call it as. I attended that mini convocation some 20 years back. Back then, the toppers, or the merit holders, they were all sons and daughters of doctors, engineers, professors, and government officers. It was some 15, 20 years back. Recently, I attended, just last year, some 5-6 months back. Sir, you were also there? You're also there? Right. But sir, I think he had some other commitments, so he left. But it was my privilege to honor the students later on. And let me tell you, I was really moved on that day, because out of some achievers, some 70, 80, I think most of the students belonged to they were sons and daughters of farmers, office peons, small-time kirana shop owners. I mean, you can distinctly see that there is a shift. There is a shift. This nation is changing. And let me tell you one thing, in the next, what you call, we like it or not, we are in such a position that in the next 6 to 7 years, that reality of our economy being $6 to $7 trillion is going to be reality. Unfortunately, some of us, at least myself, sirs, I think we are nearing 60 years, I have crossed 60. So, okay. So in that case, whoever is less than 40, they will have the advantage of being, taking part in that economic prosperity. So for that, my dear uh, colleagues here who have come from various parts of India, now most important thing is we should go on accumulating knowledge. So learning, we should become learning machines. That is true for every teachers and as well as for the students. For that, one should be humble. Only if you're humble, we can be learners, good learners. There is a saying in Vachana by a famous 12th century Vachanakara and a saint called as Someshwara. I think I'm getting it right. You can correct me if some Kannada people here, you can correct me if I'm wrong. What he told was, we should kelavam ballavarinda kaltu. For you to translate in Kannada, kelavam ballavarinda kaltu. Learn from the people who know. Kelavam malparinda kaltu. Learn from the people who have achieved something. So, kelavam shastragalinda kaltu. Learn from the scriptures. So, become a learning machine. If you go on learning every day, if you are a better person, from morning till evening, till by evening, if you're a better person, this goes on compounding, and one day you will become a very powerful learning machine and a very powerful individual. So, with this, once again, I thank the authorities of Central University Gulbarga and Vice Chancellor Sri Satnarayan ji for having me invited to be a part of this function. Once again, I thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Niranjana. It is important for us to realize that any problem which is around us, if it can be parameterized, it can always be handled by artificial intelligence or neural networks. It is time which we are going to face where all lower level cognitions can be handled by robots. It is we humans who are metacognitive in nature and who are capable of having cognition of cognitions and the cognitivity which is more stable and non-disruptive. Hence, it is important to be a human and be proud to be a human, and to make a human a valuable is to gain knowledge. That was the message of Professor Niranjana. Thank you, Professor Niranjana, for making this a wonderful and meaningful rendition. Thank you, sir. Now, we come to the closure. Before we close this whole set of sessions, we request the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Karnataka, Professor Bhattu Satyanarayana, to please address us. His presidential remarks, please.
Professor Dayanandji, the Vice Chancellor, Gulbarga University, Dr. Niranjan Nistiji, the Vice Chancellor, Saranabasan Basappa University, and also a cardiologist, and Professor Basaraj Donor, the Director Academics, Dr. Krishna Chaitanya, Dr. Basaraj Wakadi, the co-conveners of this program, and deans, HODs, the faculty members from the CUK and from other universities, and the research scholars and students. So 2 days we have spent a lot of time in this hall, and particularly for experts who have come from the different places, that is from JNU, BHU, then Chaitanya, that is Chanakya University, and Venugopal from Kalaburgi itself. They are experts in their own fields. Whatever, so we have given very less time for them. They try to, that is brief us. Whatever, very briefly, they try to explain what is Indian knowledge system. And I really am congratulating our teachers also for participating very effectively in the debate. And this type of debates and discussions are required in the university system. We need intellectual discussions, not fighting with each other. We are not politicians. We are intellectuals. We should show some direction to the society where we have come from the different streams, that is from science, engineering, languages, social sciences. And these universities are the platforms to discuss and debate the issues which are related to the nation or society. Now, so far, we are discussing about this when we are talking about the Indian knowledge system. We have many doubts. So that is saying that we are not discarding anything. Only we will initiate on steps to introduce as one elective, as a 3-credit course under multidisciplinary. The course, as per NEP 2020, it is allowed. We are not going to shift our major, the discipline. In addition to that, because for a all-round development of a student, they need to expose to different areas of studies. The knowledge is the order of the day, as our Niranjan Nistiji told. Without knowledge, we cannot do anything because it is a knowledge society. We should not say that this is not useful for us, this is not useful. Whatever is there, whatever good is there, we should try to find it out. And we should do some kind of research on this. So so that is what is, if you know about our ancestors, what they did, we should take them as their role models. So then when they did in those days, why can't we? You take as a role model and you do it and prove that Indians are not inferior to anyone in the world. How long we can continue as a developing country? So always, my childhood onwards, I am hearing that is India is a developing country, never it becomes a developed country. How long we can continue like this? We need to develop some kind of technology by our own. Indigenous technology is required to develop ourselves. How long we can depend on the imported technology? We're all even see from everything we are importing from other countries. Why should we attempt ourselves to develop our own technology, to establish our own, and we can dictate others. Unless we develop our own technology, our own science, we cannot go forward, we cannot become a developed country. Always we need to depend upon others. When we depend on others, always they dictate us. Just now, this has started the exchange of our rupee with other countries. I think economists should throw light on this one. About 18 countries. With the 18 countries, now we started the exchange of rupee. So far, we are transacting, we are procuring everything in terms of dollars. So that is our resources. The foreign resources are that is calculated in terms of the how much dollars we have. Now when you are exchanging with the rupee, you need not depend upon the dollar. The America cannot dictate us. So like this, we need to strengthen ourselves. So that type of research should continue in the universities. In the session also, one of our expert has told that the turmeric powder is patented by the Americans. Now fight is going on. Like this, now because of this IPR, intellectual property rights, whoever registered that first, that will become their property. We have to purchase that one and see for that how much we have to pay. Then our wealth, whatever we are earning, whatever maybe, we have to pay only for that only. For technology, whatever we are importing, even medicines, we are not in a position to prepare even single medicine. Only we are developing processing. Even we have plenty of pharmaceutical industries, bulk drug industries, but we have not prepared even single molecule by our own. So for that, again, we are depending on others. Where now any scientist who discovered one medicine, one antibiotic, he will get the royalty for that, and he will give to the industry, so that industry, whatever they get the profits out of which, he has to pay the royalty to the inventor or discoverer. So that is now they have the order of the day. So that is the intellectual property rights have come. Now we cannot say that earlier whatever is available everyone can use without anything. Now it is not, we cannot do this one, because they are very intelligent than us, and whatever they don't want to give anything freely to other countries. That's why they want to dictate everything. Even for war planes, everything we are importing. We are not in a position to prepare anything. So now how long we will depend like this? So even for every small subject, everything we are only depending on others. So therefore, now we should start it without fighting with each other. Okay, you leave the fighting field to the politicians. But we, the academicians, whatever the differences are there, we should fight with each other only for academically, not for other things. We should not allow other things to come. We should only debate, discuss, and do some work. And whatever students are coming to the universities with a lot of expectations, unless we provide something to the students, they will be very unhappy. They will not trust the teachers. They lose the faith in the teachers. So this is a day where we have to do a lot of work. We should work day and night for the benefit of the students. We need to create a knowledge society. That is that opportunity has come to us. We have to do work, so that definitely the students definitely will benefit if we work. This is only beginning. We'll allow from the university side, even we'll have a collaboration with the Gulbarga University and Sarnabasma University to have that is combined workshops for the development of this Indian knowledge system. For other fields also, we will now it is a day for interacting with each other, and we will go for the MOUs. Even we can go for MOUs with foreign universities, whatever may be. We will exchange everything. We should not undermine everyone. So whatever knowledge is important, we should try to gain the knowledge from whatever is the source. So this is a beginning. I hope our teachers who have come from other side, also other universities or institutions, will definitely contribute in future for the development of knowledge, for the betterment of the society, our nation. With this, I thank you, all of you, for sparing 2 days in this hall. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Relevance is extremely important. We cannot neglect the growth outside us. Essentially, it is important to respect the knowledge which is building outside and make ourselves known of our knowledge system and make a relevance in this scenario. This was the message by the Honorable Vice Chancellor. Thank you, sir, for this enlightenment. Thanks indeed. Now we come to the closure of this activity. I request the organizing secretary, Professor Dr. Basavaraj Kupkaddi, to please propose vote of thanks.
Good evening, sir. Since 2 days we are here and actively participated in all the technical sessions, and I feel or I think that we learn something from other sources that have been produced here. We are all intellectuals. Along with that, we learn something to increase our knowledge. As we know, dharma means a duties of every individual to be performed in every step of life. So I think that it is my dharma to propose vote of thanks to all who have contributed much for the success of this 2 days national workshop. At the outset, I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir for his unbending backbone support for all of our activities, and also he being an inspiration and source of knowledge. I wholeheartedly thank you, sir, for your support for this program. I thank Honorable Professor Dayanand Agasar sir, Vice Chancellor Gulbarga University, Karnataka, for his enlightening speech and his contribution for the success of this program. I thank you, sir, on behalf of the Central University of Karnataka. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Niranjana Nishti, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sharanbasweshwar University, Kalaburgi, for his gracious presence and valuable words. I thank you, sir, on behalf of Central University of Karnataka. I thank Professor Basavaraj Donur, sir, Director Academics, who has taken keen interest for organizing this national workshop. I thank you, sir. I also thank Dr. Chaitanya R.K. And also I thank all the resource persons who spared their valuable time with us all the 2 days. Dr. V. Ramanathan, Dr. C. Upendra Rao, Dr. Ramakrishna. Sir, thank you once again for your wonderful speech and also the valuable time which has been shared with us. Thank you, sir, on behalf of Central University of Karnataka. I also thank Dr. Venugopala Herur and Dr. Vinayak Rajat Bhatt in their absence here for their contribution to make this event a successful. I also thank all the deans, heads, coordinators, and all the faculty members, research scholars of the university. And also I thank all the organizing committee members and subcommittee members. I also thank PRO, Dr. Ganapati sir, making this event to be published in all the newspapers. And also I thank the faculty of the Department of Mass Communication and system analyst and his staff, electrical staff, and all the persons who have participated in this national level workshop and who have supported to make this event as successful. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. ಬಾಳ್ವರಿಕೆ ಕಾಲಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಯಂತ್ರಗಳು ಊರಿಂಗೆ ಸಂರಚನೆ ಲಯದೊಳಕೆ ಜೊನ್ನೆ ಮುಡಿಪು. It is important to realize that life grows at configuration, and the whole purpose of this workshop is to make ourselves a true configuration, and the configuration which is extremely flexible and adapts to reality. Thank you all for making this a possibility. Now we end our 2 days deliberation with national song. Sorry, the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you all. So there are a few announcements. Please note that the external participants